Hello again, SGBers. I'm Companion Wolf, Rob Wolf on Facebook. Welcome to another Smile Game Builder tutorial. As a continuation of the basic crafting system I set up in tutorial 19 for cooking, this one will have a basic mining system. The inspiration for this system has been drawn from RuneScape, a game I have very fond memories of, but actually no longer play. Maybe I just outgrew it in favour of Skyrim or Shadows of Mordor, the two games I seem to play most frequently nowadays. But since I didn't play it as much as I once did, paying the monthly membership didn't seem justified enough. And then when they changed the system in GUI, to me, it just wasn't the same RuneScape anymore. So I cancelled the subscription and uninstalled it. I did reinstall and subscribe again recently, but just couldn't get into it anymore. Some of the systems RuneScape has in place are a source of inspiration for many of these tutorials. This video might go over the 20 to 30 minute target because there is a lot to cover, but that's okay, right? And with that said, here's the intro. On the start map, if you've been following my tutorials, you'll notice that I juggle things around a bit. Some of the lemon bombs have been moved. This one here and one is higher up along with the ladder. And I created a mine entrance along with its mine entrance event. We first need to create an event to receive a pickaxe. We won't get very far without it. I just created a stationary receive an item event and tweaked it a bit. All of the relevant details are here for the old miner and his pickaxe. For the mine, I used one of the dungeon map templates and then recolored it with my own assets. This includes the rocks for the different ores, one for stone or copper and the other one for iron ore. There will be 6 ores in total, 3 for copper, 3 for iron. As you can see, I've named them 1, 2 and 3 for each type. This is because each one also has a unique variable that will be used for checking the number of mines, the number of ores mined before the deposit is exhausted. We'll start with the copper one and change its graphic to the lighter. I don't know what this will be used for yet. Probably weapons and armour, but we'll deal with that later. I've pre-created it to make it quicker. We need to check if the player has a pickaxe in order to mine the ore, unless of course your player is some humongous superhero type who can just extract the ore with his bare hands, of course. Set the local switch to off in the conditions. This isn't necessary really, I just like doing it for consistency. So we'll do a check held items in the event details, set to pickaxe. They already have one in the defaults, which is this one. Now instead of doing the usual yes no branches, this time we'll check the when not held option, and under yes display a message, you need a pickaxe to mine the ore. This is because logically, yes, the pickaxe is not held. Then under no, we add a local switch turned on. On sheet 2, we set the local switch to on in the conditions. In the event details, add a variable box check for variable 10 copper ore 1 mined and set it to when the value is same as 5. This sets up a limited number of ores that you can mine from a single deposit. Otherwise you'll just stand there and hack endlessly at the rock for infinite ores. Now unfortunately there isn't a way to directly randomize the number of ores, because the variable box, both in the event panel and the conditions, only allows fixed values. You can't use variables values in them. We simply wouldn't be able to set up a random number for the amount of ores you can mine and then check if the number of ores you've mined equals that random number. It can't be done that way. This has to be a fixed number, so we have to work with fixed numbers. With that said though, each individual ore can be changed, just to add a bit of variety, by changing the number of ores available in the variable box check here on sheet 2. Under yes, display a message, this ore deposit has been exhausted. And under the no option, display text, mining, add 1 to your copper ore, add 1 to the variable copper ore 1 mined, and then add a display message, you mined an, that should be a copper ore. And so what this will do is each time you mine the ore, it'll check the number of ores you've mined. In our case you can get 5 ores before the deposit is exhausted. Then we can copy and paste the event as many times as we need, which I've already done here. And just for consistency, change that to that. And this time around maybe we will have 4 ores available, and notice that copper 2 is changed to copper ore 2 mined, and then it's the same way here. And in the third one, change that to a copper ore so it's grammatically correct. Next, the iron ore, which is pretty much the same as the copper ore, except we obviously changed the rock on both pages, the variables, and replace other references to the copper ore with iron ore. So on sheet 2 it would be here, ore 1 mined, iron ore equals 1, iron ore 1 mined equals 1, you mined an iron ore. All instances of copper ore to iron ore, and then we will set this to 6 instead. Now if we playtest at this point, what would happen is we'd be able to enter the mine and get some more, but when we re-enter, perhaps at a later time, each of the deposits would remain empty, meaning no more ore, even though they'd have time to refresh. Unless you want to keep it that way, we can reset the values so that the next time the mine is entered, you can extract some more ore. The variables are reset in the mine exits. Like so. I just used okay, so that one isn't the same, I forgot to change it. Anyway, I just used the cave entrance link to another place, and the doors and stairs. So with this one, we assign 0 to each of the values. Copper ore 1, 2 and 3 mined, and iron ore 1, 2 and 3. We have to do this for each one, both copper and iron ore, because there isn't a feature that allows you to reset multiple variables as there was in RPG Maker. It doesn't matter, because I think with this one I kind of prefer it this way, because you can see exactly which ones you have reset, and then this is just the normal teleportation to outside. So we should copy this and then paste it on the other side so it's equal. This way, when you leave the mine and re-enter, you can continue mining. Now that we have the ores and the pickaxe, we need to create somewhere to process the ore and craft it into something. We could just use the crafting table as we did in the previous tutorial, number 19, because, well, it is a magic table on which you can cook eggs and make potions on as well. But that's not very realistic, is it? So I created another building just for the smithing. And this is right here. For this one, I'm using Jackson Meira's excellent house building pack. Honestly, it is jam-packed with everything you need to create housing and other buildings. These are all of the building templates you would need. I'll showcase this more thoroughly in a future video. Jackson does this mostly for free, so be sure to show him some support and appreciation by visiting his various sites. All of the links will be in the description below. Anyway, for the interior, I've left it pretty bare and only fitted it with really everything we need. There's some bookshelves there, a crafting table with some torches on it, and a nice furnace, care of Jackson again. And the fire is simply the events effects, putting in, I think it's the flames. Yeah, it's the flames. And for the smelter itself, create an event in front of it from which we can select the ore to melt down into ingots. Sheet 1, add a condition where the local switch is off. Again, this might not be necessary, it's just for consistency. In the event details, local switch is on. Add a message, would you like to smelt some ores? Add a display selection, yes and no. Under yes, display another selection with the options copper and iron. Under copper, turn the copper ore on. Likewise, under iron, turn the iron ore on. And then for the copper ore, add 2 condition switches, one for the copper ore, the other one for the local switch. Set it to trigger one time automatically. We'll first check whether the copper ore is in the inventory with a check held items. And then under no, display a message, you don't have enough copper ores. Then under yes, subtract 1 from the copper ore, add 1 copper ingot. Add a text, you smelted a copper ingot. And then right at the end, turn local switch off. Sheet 3 is exactly the same as sheet 2 for the copper ore, except all instances of copper obviously need to be changed to iron ore. One here, here, and here, and finally here. So now we can play test it in its entirety and see how everything fits together. Let's visit the smelter first. Chick, chick, chick. Of all of the bloody things. Let's do it first person so you can see. Would you like to smelt some ores? Don't have the copper ores. And obviously we don't have the iron ores either. And we don't have a pickaxe. You heading to the mines? Have my pickaxe. It's not like my aching bones can swing it anymore. Happy mining. I've already given you my pickaxe. So let's head here. And we can mine some more. Yep, that's right. We set that one to 3, didn't we? And should have 8, 9. That's right. 6 plus 3. Yeah, and it's the same. We'll get some iron ore. So now, just to verify, we should be able to mine the ore again. To the smelter. Wait a minute. Okay, little bug. So we need to go and change that, because if you smelt copper, you get iron. Interesting. And this local switch should be at the very bottom, not at the top. So it'll cycle through. Let's play test very briefly again. Go to the smelter and try again. Copper ingot. And iron ingot. So here we have copper ore, copper ingot, and iron ingot. Of course, this system can be expanded, but this is designed as a simple mining system to work from. In future crafting tutorials, I'll revisit the mining and smelting areas. In the mines, one of the things in RuneScape is that each ore refreshes after a certain amount of time, rather than you having to leave the area and come back to it. Usually what will happen is that you can wait beside the ore, and after its set amount of time, it'll refresh, so you can continue mining. So I'll implement a timer for the ores in one of the next crafting tutorials, and this will then lead to a routine we'll need for a farming system where vegetables grow from seeds into full vegetables over time that you can then pick and make into food. I'll revisit the mining crafting system at a much later date, where we can add things like timed ore refreshes, breaking pickaxes, and random gems. For the next tutorial, I'll be doing something else. I'm not sure what yet, even though I have quite a number of tutorials already pre-prepared. Likely it'll be another request or suggestion, but in the meantime, be sure to subscribe to my Twitter and Facebook accounts and the SGB subsite I set up to keep updated. If you like this video, like and subscribe for more videos. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.